Torghast changes. No.
Yes.
Torghast interface changes. Torghast is remaining largely the same in 9.0.5 as far as I can tell.
Well, it's like, I think this is fun because this goes down to some of what I was talking about with Morgan at the interview. Which is basically, I mean, initial Torghast kind of shot the bed. And that's not what Morgan said, but, he'd said that, like, player expectations were a bit out of whack initially. And that meant that because it felt so bad to die to the final boss, even if it was the first time you'd ever met that type of boss, or to die midway through a run and get absolutely shag all in terms of rewards, yet players just expected that, oh, this is the content I've unlocked this week in World of Warcraft, I can do it. Because World of Warcraft is just a game where, other than certain bits of content, you're expected never to lose.
Yeah.
You know, you're never going to get to the end of your Covenant campaign and fight a boss that would be like the end of any other campaign in any other game, because that's how they develop World of Warcraft. So, if we look at what's happening here, they've basically just added in recommended item levels. And I think that's basically just something that's designed to manage player expectations. I imagine they get a bunch of feedback from casual players who are not, super clued into the online stuff. And it turns out Blizzard look and they're like, well, of course you could never do that. That's like going into a Mythic 10 with heroic dungeon gear.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just trying to reflect what's really going on in the game.
Yeah, between that and the sheer differential in how capable a class or a group actually was at doing Torghast, I remember even being a part of it when it came to people in the guild. Someone struggling on a layer, and like, what do you mean? I play a paladin, I can do layer 8 at like 180.
Yeah.
Not worrying about anything at all. And turns out their class just literally had worse buffs in Torghast. That was it.
Yeah, it's so sad that launch Torghast was a disaster, because we really liked Torghast in beta.
Absolutely.
And I'm fairly sure, I'm not 100% sure about Finn, but like I think it's, so I know, like, okay, me and Matt both generally do like roguelites, like Mike likes roguelikes as well. We were all pretty up in the ideas of this feature. But they put their worst foot forward in almost, it's actually impressive the degree to which Blizzard put their worst foot forward with every aspect of Torghast. Yeah. Because it's like, not only is the only mode that gives you relevant rewards the 6th floor one, where you can't scale to be fun, but you then end up having to do them all weekly, even if you don't want to, because you need the legendaries. And then you've also got to go and save Thrall and Jaina and all of those people, and get Bolvar's resources sometimes, which just meant more people were going in to do a boring, piss easy in that case, version of Torghast they didn't want to do. And then by the time Twisting Corridors comes out, it's got no reward system. I mean, it does with those layer breakpoints, but not in any way that... Okay, basically it came out as like, it's like it had Steam achievements, but no progression in-game. In a way.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah, so... That's the thing with Torghast, and here, this is just some triage. This is just putting a little bit more expectation, setting for players in terms of the difficulties that they can expect. But it's actually ultimately completely fucking useless, because patch 9.1 is kind of going to revamp Torghast, maybe. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe not as a gameplay experience for people who know what layer they can do and go in and try it. But I think it will ultimately, assuming they add higher difficulties on to match the gear cadence, it should mean actually climbing the layers at the start and trying your luck, especially in Twisting Corridors, should be a lot less punishing and a lot more, not to be rude to them, thought through.
Yeah. Like, somebody here is saying, stop encouraging Blizzard to itemize Twisting Corridors. Christ, I don't want to play that. No, if you don't want to play it, it's fine, don't play it. Blizzard, if there's going to be gear from the Twisting Corridors, it's probably not the sort of thing where it should be gear that a raider should ever give a shit about. Yeah. I'm saying that primarily as a raider. So, Torghast gear, some of that itemization budget has got to go into, amplifying your anima powers or just anything else. I absolutely think the twisting corridors, basically, Torghast should not have this regular wing for Soul Ash versus twisting corridors. Everything should be twisting corridors. It should be like a roguelite. You go in, the whole expectation is you'll get your ass handed to you at some point, but you'll get some cool stuff along the way. I think some of that cool stuff should be cosmetics, our Island Expeditions.
Yes.
It should also be a Torghast set of gear that it maybe gives you a set bonus within Torghast that maybe, does not actually have itemization that would make it ever be something that a Raider, PvPer, or Mythic Pluser would want. But instead, that Torghast gear has got some sort of bonus that can impact the stuff within Torghast. And oh look, you do that, and you move the Stygia progression into something you get by just doing this one Torghast mode, and suddenly, Torghast actually gets to exist.
Wouldn't that be something?
Instead of, I want my mount for the Maw, and I want my Soul Ash. Yeah. And this is the annoying tower I have to climb to get it. Because the framing of the whole experience is just so wrong and bad.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because it's got so much potential.
The worst part is how it can scale. Because I remember very early days in the beta, before it was broken down into this layer system, and it was just, hey, go nuts. Go as far as you can. I remember, I can't remember how many floors it actually was, but I remember one beta run, absolutely killing it on Paladin, and I just kept going and going, and I was so disappointed when I hit a wall that said, you've done your run now. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I can't remember how many floors it was. It was like, I think they called it like the heroic mode at the time, and it was like 18 floors, and I was so disappointed, because that build could have taken me way to what I think they were calling it Mythic at the time, which was like way higher starting scaling point. But so I was thinking as you're talking there about the Torghast gear, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason to go get that Torghast gear unless you need it in Torghast. So it's like, if you think about what's the goal of gearing in Raid, it's to get better gear, to be cooler as a player, but also you're getting gear with your guild to take down the boss.
Yeah.
Mythic Plus is kind of the same, where you want to get gear, push hierarchies. PvP doesn't, it's sort of similar. It's kind of to be up there with the big boys, but in Torghast specific gear could have been done. It didn't need to be like complicated or anything. It just needed to be, hey, we have put this big challenge for you. This will scale forever, but this will scale as high as possible. I mean, obviously there were challenges there balance-wise, but just go, okay, there's the top of the tower. Go nuts. Try your best. Here's a loop for you to go through, to gear through, to get progression outside of it, and then come back in. But you get all that progression through actually the raid.
It's like they were inspired by doing a game within a game, and they sort of did that, and then tried to work out as many ways they could tie that game into the rest of the game. Whereas that's not necessarily what I think a lot of players and people who love that feature would actually